Hey friends, Mark Levy here, and I wanted to do something special because I've been watching a whole bunch of Sundance movies in the last few days. For those that don't know, that the Sundance Film Festival, as you see right above me, is the logo. But I see that the Sundance Film Festival is actually happening right now, and which as much as it sucks right now about COVID, and, like it really sucks. There is a small positive for us movie lovers that have always wanted to go to Sundance. It's digital this year. Also, they're doing a very smart in-person version of it, so it can actually still happen for some people. But what's really nice is that people like me that live in New York that have never been to Park City in January can experience Sundance as best as possible. And I decided that I would go spend some money and see as many of the movies as I can that I wanted to see. So here's a couple small reviews of the movies that I just saw in the last few days at Sundance. Some of these movies you might be able to see in the future. Some of them you might not be able to. What I decided to do is I wanted to do a wide swath of categories of films. I originally was just going to see three. Decided to add on a fourth today because there was a movie that I heard that was good. And I wanted to be able to see that because I had the opportunity and at the time. So you're gonna hear me talk about four different movies that are incredibly different, and all worthwhile watches to at least a certain extent. All right, let's get started with Mother Schmuckers. This movie's from Belgium. It's from Harpo and Lenny Guit. They are two directors. This is their first movie, and the movie also stars Harpo Guit and someone else as lead roles. What Mother Schmuckers is about. It's about these two idiot brothers who lose their mother's dog, and they have 24 hours to get their dog back, or the mother's going to just kick them on the street. What happens in this movie is all incredibly profane and incredibly shocking to the point of where the opening sequence is a lot, but it's needed, or else you don't get, or else you won't be ready for what happens. And I tempted to tell you what happens in the opening sequence. But if you've seen the works of John Waters, it is not too far off. Actually, John Waters is a really good comparison for a lot of the things that you would see in Mother Schmuckers. Mother Schmuckers, Harpo and Lenny are big American comedy fans. In the Q&A, which I've watched all the Q&As of these, at least a little bit of, what I liked about it is they mentioned how much they loved It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That gives you a sense of humor of a sense of idea of what the humor is, with it being dark and weird. It like the characters really much are a lot like um, uh, Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, but they get in some very dark situations. Like the last 10 minutes of this movie are so fucking dark that it took me like I don't know how I slept well that night. It is that kind of dark humor, but like what I love about this movie is that it goes there. It goes there, like wholeheartedly. It goes there. It owns that it's a gross out, disgusting movie, with like some really fucked up things in its moral compass. Like when I say fucked up, I mean I don't know if this could be shown in movie theaters. Fucked up. I really would love to see it with an audience, though, because I do think some parts of it are just so gnarly and gross. And I just when I wrote my review for it on Letterboxd, I gave it 3.5 stars because I was very happy with the fact that the movie actually exists, like, and is this extreme. For people that want an extreme comedy, Mother Schmuckers is for you. If you don't want extreme comedy, avoid Mother Schmuckers. Another thing I like about this movie is like everything is played up to 11, which is kind of on purpose. Like it's all very intense and like gross and hilarious. But there's like some parts where they're just genuinely funny. There's a part where they get stuck inside having to be dancers for a music video, and the music video is very strange. It's about a person stuck in a well, and there's like everyone commits their parts well. The movie was clearly shot for a low budget. I do wonder how they shot a scene where one of their brothers is chasing their with a gun in down like their part of Belgium, and the like everyone that starts seeing them sees this guy chasing a guy with a gun, and people start assuming it's a terrorist attack. It's dark. It's funny. If you like that kind of stuff, I recommend Mother Schmuckers. If not, avoid it. My next movie was On the Count of Three, which was directed by Gerard Carmichael, also starring him in his directorial debut. The plot of this is very simple. It's about two best friends that are very, very depressed and decide to go on, make a pact to kill themselves with guns, and they're about to do it, and then one of them is like, "Wait, let's just have one like last day together and like live it all out like a bucket list day." So the whole movie follows them on that day, and it's got like I said, it stars Gerard Carmichael, also stars a star of every Sundance movie ever. It feels like Christopher Abbott. And what I liked about this performance for him is it's actually a very funny performance, which you never see Christopher Abbott be funny. I feel like every time you see him, he's like brooding and looking sad and all that stuff. But like in this movie, he is there for comedy, there for emotion. This is a very, very emotional film. Very emotional. But one of the things I find very fascinating about this movie is if you're a fan of like Gerard Carmichael's comedy, then you know like he likes realness. He values realness. And he cast this movie a whole bunch of famous comedic actors that we all love, like Tiffany Haddish is in there, Henry Winkler is in there, J.B. Smoove is in there, Lavelle Crawford's, like a lot of great comedic people that are playing like very real people that are also able to be funny and weird and real. This movie, for me, as of right now, is my favorite movie I've seen this year. I haven't seen that many movies that are new this year just because it's pandemic and January tends to be pretty much a dump month. But I do think this is my favorite movie of the year. Like, yeah, it's just everything about this movie works in the way that it wants to work. That's the most important thing about it. I think it's really funny and also has some really good use of the song from Papa Roach, oh my god, Last Resort. That's used like 4 times in the movie, and it's just I feel like if you are an early millennial, this movie is like for you, and also it's got some really funny ways it goes. It's a little predictable, but not in a bad way. Like it's a good journey, and I like that. Like it's all about the journey of this movie. Next up is First Date, which was directed by Manuel Crosby and Darren Knapp. And what it is about is it's about this guy who's kind of a little bit down on his luck nerd who has a crush on a girl and he asks her on a date. And she says yes. But he needs a car because he wants to be able to drive her and impress her. And then he gets his hands on a car, and it's a junker car. And you quickly learn a whole bunch of bad people want his car or want to fuck him up and take his car. And so this was in the Next series, which is pretty cool. I always like Next because it's kind of cutting edge and always like has like very cool like films in there. And this one on paper is very, very cool. Like it was described in like the catalog as Super Bad meets True Romance. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're gonna like go on the date, something bad's gonna happen, and then like etc. etc. This movie works for about 40 minutes. The acting of the two leads of Tyson Brown and Shelby Duclos, incredible. But my issue with this movie is there is a good movie in here. The movie's about 105 minutes, but there's only about 80 minutes of good stuff, I'd say, in there. Like for example, like there was these characters in about halfway in that after like he's already gone through some shit with his car, and like people are like after him for some reason. He's like, I don't know what's wrong, and he gets pulled over. He's like, fuck, I'm fucked. And then you see this like sweet elderly couple, like not elderly, but like 50-year-olds, like, oh my god, yes, this is our actual car, and they are in the movie a long time, and they don't really propel the story. And what happens that hurts with this movie is that, for me personally, I wanted to see what would happen in this date. I was sold on that. Instead, it became a very low budget version of a Tarantino film in the bad ways. A lot of the acting isn't great. The directors in the Q&A mentioned how they wanted a lot of roles in the movie, and they got a lot of roles, but it came at the expense of the actual film, and we didn't want that. Like one of the big things for me as a storyteller is the length of the story must be the same length as the actual story. So like if the story wants to be longer and it's like 80-minute thing, you get like a rush story. But if the story wants to be shorter, then and it's 100 minutes, then you're bored. And this movie hurt because every time the focus pulled away from the main guy, Mike, played by Tyson, it kind of fell apart. And Shelby Duclos is great as, like, really great as Cuss. Like, the movie literally is on its rails for about 40 minutes and then just veers off and just never gets back on. Almost does a couple times, but nope. The directors are too focused on the extraneous characters. I think they didn't need like 10 people wanting the car. I think they just needed like 3. Because there are like gangs of people that want cars and they all have like a lot of party. And it's like, what are you adding to the story? Oh, nothing. And then there's a big shootout and a lot of people die. And like, you're supposed to care about these people, but you don't care about them. The only people I found myself really caring about were the 2 leads, who I thought were incredible. I would like to see more from those directors in the future. But like more focused work. Because I think like, it's funny. It's actually a very funny movie. But then like, it just gets stuck in its own ass. Of like being like, hey, this character is interesting, and like it's not an interesting character. You can't make a character. You can't make me care about drug dealer number 7 just because drug dealer number 7 has a part that doesn't add anything to it. That's one of my big things. That got really emotional there. I didn't need to. Also, it's pretty cool that it really got to Sundance, even though I unfortunately don't care about it as much as I want to. The last movie I saw was Jockey by Clint Bartley, and it's about a horse jockey who's towards the end of his career, played by Clifton Collins Jr., and he meets a new jockey who he finds out is his son. And he takes him under his wing and a whole bunch of other amazing things. One of the things I love about this movie, like, wholeheartedly, is, so, like, this movie is so well acted, and easily the best performance of Clifton Collins Jr. I've ever seen. If you know who he is, you've seen him in a million things. Like, he's just an incredible actor. Moises Arias, whom I, oddly enough, remember from Hannah Montana's Rico, is it great in it. Molly Parker, it's a lot. Like, there's not many actors in this movie. There's a good amount of parts, which is totally fine. Every part adds to the story. But there isn't many actors. A lot of the people in this movie are real people. So it's got a very lived-in vibe to it. It kind of reminds me of The Wrestler. And me personally, I don't really love the horse genre. I do love the movie The Rider, and then nothing much besides for that and this. What I love about this movie is it's a very tight 95-minute movie. The cinematography by Adolfo Vasello is incredible. There's so much genuine emotion in this movie, and it takes you in places that you don't think it's going to go, and I absolutely adore it. I'm excited that I saw Sony Pictures Classics picked it up, so we'll get some kind of release for sure. And I'm very happy by that, because, you know, if you want a good movie, this Jockey is a great movie. Like, the 2 best movies I saw, hands down, of the 4 are On the Count of 3, which is my personal favorite, and then Jockey. Then I like Schmuckers a lot if you like movies that are there, that go there. And First Date, unless it gets a massive edit, I'd say skip. But keep your eye out for those directors, and especially Tyson Brown and Shelby Duclos, because they're incredible in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.